Alright guys, so you guys have been waiting for it and your wish is now received. This is my Monarch Lair Darkness Structure Deck collaboration video, pretty much. So for a lot of you guys may or may not know, about 2 days ago I actually uploaded this profile and come to realize that I had a card in this deck that was supposed to be at 1, and you guys let me know that I ran it in the deck at 3, and it completely threw off my strategy for the deck. So I had to revamp my deck, and I would have done that the same night, but you guys already know I started a new job, and I gotta leave the house at 6 a.m. So I'm not gonna be up all night editing videos for to refix that problem. So I just took the video down and I said, hey, I'll just go ahead and revamp the Monarch deck for Saturday. So this is the Monarch Lair Darkness Structure Deck collaboration. So let's get into it. Without further ado, let's begin. Starting off, I ran 3 Darkest Diablos Lord of Lair. Now this card, you guys already know what it does. For you guys that do not know, while you guys are at the sneak peek today having a blast, your opponent cannot tribute this face of card and cannot target it with card effects. You can only use each of these effects of Darkest Diablos Lord of Lair once per turn. If a dark monster you control is tributed, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there when you tributed it, or even if it was not. You can tribute 1 dark monster. Your opponent places 1 card from their hand on the top or bottom of the deck. Solid effect. I run him at 3 because he's in the lower darkness target, and he's one of those cards you definitely want to open up with, because if you open up cards that can do tributing, he's pretty powerful for what it does. So you definitely want to run 3 of him. I know a lot of OCG builds, when they combine this Lair Darkness deck with this card, they usually run him at 1 or maybe 2 because he is a solid boss monster, but 3 is optimum for this version, and I'll get to that towards the end of the video. 3, Arema, the Wicked Warden. Now, a lot of versions of the Lair Darkness deck don't run this, but you guys already know I ran this in my Masked Hero version, and for good reason. You can discard this card, add 1 Lair Darkness from your deck to your hand. You can tribute 1 dark monster. Draw 1 card, or if you tributed a dark monster other than this card to activate its effect, you can add 1 dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck to your hand instead. You can only use each of its effects once per turn. So he's solid because he searches out your Lair of Darkness, which is good. He's a 1700 beater, and he tutors out your Darkest Diablos, which is amazing when you use this effect. From testing in my hero version, his effect does come up a lot, especially mid to late game, and pitching him for Lair of Darkness comes up a lot as well. So that's why I decided to run him at 3. Really good. Now the favorite girl of the deck, Lilith. 3 Lilith, best card for the deck. Moving forward, outside of the Lair Darkness deck, I can just see Lilith being splashed in different decks because of how good she is. When you normal summon her, her attack becomes 1,000. You can tribute 1 dark monster or herself pretty much. Reveal 3 normal traps from your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 for you to set to the field, and then you can shuffle the rest back into your deck. You can only use her effect once per turn. Now her first effect is a quick effect, so if you do have the Lair on the board and you have her pass, you can tribute off your opponent's monsters, which is awesome to get her trap effect. But the main reason why I like Lilith is because she can reveal 3 normal traps. Right now, currently, you can get that new trap card that revealed today in the Flames of Destruction. Picture of it on screen. I think it's an Imperable, Empress, or something like that. You can also get Struggling Battle, etc. So this card is really good for what it does. It really is a powerful card. If this came out in an actual set, like in a regular Yu-Gi-Oh set, it'd easily be a $60 card. So Lilith is very powerful. 9 monsters for the Lair Dark Monster Engine. Now for the Monarchs. Now you guys are gonna notice this is different from most Monarch decks you guys see, because every Monarch deck nowadays is just domain monarchs using Ether and Erebus. Well, I tried that build, like I said in my last video, and it just doesn't work in conglomeration with the Lair Darkness stuff. The Monarch cards, for what they do, are too cloggy, too bricky. So this Monarch engine is a minimum, but I think it works for this deck. So 2 Caius the Mega Monarchs. Now, he came out in the Lair Darkness structure deck for good reason. And I think it's because if you wanted to combine this deck with the Monarch deck, they're pretty much trying to tell you, use Caius the Mega Monarch. You can tribute summon this card by tributing 1 tribute summon monster. If this card is tribute summon, target 1 card in the field and banish it. And if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. But then if it's a dark monster card, banish all cards with that name from the hand, main deck, extra deck, or graveyard of the player who controlled it. If this card is tribute summoned by tributing a dark monster, added this addition effect, you can target 2 cards instead. So essentially with Lair Darkness, everything you're gonna have is dark. everything you're gonna have is dark anyway in this deck. So essentially, you're gonna bring them out, banish 2 cards, then banish all copies of those cards from your opponent. That's a very powerful effect depending on what deck you play against. Like against Trickstars, banishing their Lily Bells and the one girl who does all the searching. I can't think of her name right now. It's solid for what it does. So yeah, I like the highest Mega Monarch in this deck because it's consistent with the deck theme of abusing dark cards. So yeah. Now for the last little bit of the Monarch engine. 2 Idea to Heavenly Squires and 2 Eidos to Underworld Squire. Now, these cards, they run hand to hand. Any Monarch deck should be running these, no exceptions. This card is normal summon or special summon. You can special summon 1 monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense from your deck in defense position, except Idea to Heavenly Squire. Also, you cannot special summon a monster in your extra deck from this turn. This card sent to the graveyard, target one of your banished Monarch spells and traps and add it to your hand. You can only use each effective Idea to Heavenly Squire once per turn. And his effect pretty much reads something similar, where it's like, same thing, you only use effect once per turn, but he can get that additional tribute summon in addition to the summon for the turn. So pretty much, bring an Idea, bring an Eidos, you can tribute both for Kai's Mega Monarch, get his effect abuse off. Or, you can go Idea, Eidos, tribute summon for Darkest Diablos, use your Eidos effect and graveyard advantage, special summon your Idea. He's obviously can't use his effect again, but if you have the Lair on the board, you can use Darkest Diablo's effect, tribute off, and send a card from opponent's hand to top or bottom of their deck. So that's a cute little combo you can do with those cards. Yeah, so they're very consistent with what the deck does. I mean, they do take off a hard normal summon, and normal summon in his deck is important, but with that being said, they play their role by allowing you to abuse Kaya's, allowing you to go second and do some damage, and allowing you, if you go first, you can do some cute combos with Darkest Diablo. So yeah. Pretty good, pretty powerful. And we're gonna round off the monsters with 1 Ash Blossom and 3 Veilers. If I had 3 Ash, it'd be 3 Ash and 1 Veiler, but I don't, so I run it like that. And Veiler's good because bring out this little cute darling right here, Kribo. Then you wanna run a 3 Allure of Darkness. Consistency card for the deck, no exceptions. Draw 2, banish a dark. 3 Lairs. Now, for you guys that still are new to the deck, I'm gonna go ahead and read this card to you. All face-up monsters on the field become dark. Once per turn, if you would tribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you can tribute 1 dark monster your opponent controls, even though you do not control it. Once per turn during the end phase, special summon as many torment tokens, 1000 attack, 1000 defense as possible to the turn player's field in defense position up to the number of monsters you reveal for the turn while this card is face up. So essentially, play it, you can use your opponent's monster to tribute off stuff, and they all become dark. Really good because when you have this on the board and you're going second, once again, this deck loves to go second, by the way. You can use Darkest Diablo's effect, shoot off their monsters to make them send a card from their hand. You can use Lilith effect on their monsters. You can use a Rama effect. Overall, it's just solid for what it does. The creme de la creme to the deck, which is the reason why you can't run a domain version of the deck with this card because it just doesn't work. So you're gonna run 2 Pot of Desires because you definitely want to draw cards to your deck. You want to make sure that you have enough cards to keep your hand up, because one thing I noticed about this deck is that for whatever reason, after you play a lot of your cards, you're low on hand count. So Pot of Desires help alleviate that by drawing the 2. Now banishing 10 is kind of hurts the deck to a degree, but I noticed from the hero version of this deck that when you're banishing 10, drawing 2, as long as you got your Lair on the board and you got a way to bring out your Darkest Diablos, you're good to go. So yeah, Pot of Desires is definitely needed for, I believe, every version of this deck. So 2 Cosmic Cyclones because it's good for the meta right now, better than MST. Yeah, nothing really to say much about there. 1 Foolish Barrel because you can go ahead and send your Darkest Diablos to the graveyard to abuse this effect. You can go ahead and also send your Idea and Eidos to the graveyard to start some of their effects. I mean, it's just solid for what it does. Raigeki because it's broken. Yeah, Raigeki. It's just Raigeki. And then 3 Grinning Grave Virus. Now you're gonna run that because, okay, with Lair Darkness on the board, you can use your opponent's stuff to tribute. So what I noticed from playing the hero version, you just had a set, and like I figured, it's consistent. And the key to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! In every card game is consistency. So you want to always have a way to target your opponent's monsters, and Grinning Grave Virus hits everything 3,000 or less. Now, yes, it's not as powerful as Eradicator, it's not as powerful as Full Force Virus, but it does what it does, and it does what it does well. Messing up your opponent's deck can be crucial. Tributing off their monsters can be crucial. So yeah, I like 3 Granite Grave. Consistency card. There's no reason not to like it. One Eradicator Epidemic Virus. So this is the card I was talking about earlier in the video where I ran it at 3 at first because I thought it was literally at 3. Then I saw a comment that said, hey, ain't Eradicator at 1? I went to the ban list, saw it was at 1. I'm like, oops, delete video because I don't want to have a video up here making it seem like I don't pay attention to the ban list. So sorry for that, guys. So which is why I pushed this video back to Saturday. 3 back to the fronts because it's with Lilith. And another thing that's good from back to the front from what I learned at locals, I learned it from another guy running this deck. He was running the Lair Darkness Dragon version. You can back to the front while you got Lair Darkness on the board. Back to the front, your Lilith. Tribute out your opponent's monster on their turn. Use her effect to set another card. So good. Plays for days. 1 Metaverse, 1 Solemn Judgment. Only own 1 Metaverse, which is why I run 1, but I probably bump it up to 2 to 3 if I own them. But I think you have so many ways to get the Lair. It's not that important. It's only good for if you're going first and you don't want your opponent to know what you're playing. So then Judgment because it's Judgment. And the extra deck honestly really don't matter. But and my extra deck for this deck is minimum right now. And because for one, I don't have a lot of level 8 tuners or synchros. No, not tuners. I don't have a lot of level 8 XYZ monsters because you can use those for Doctors Diablos and etc. But essentially, all you really bring out in this deck is Link Karibo. And then everything else is just filler for if you got Torment tokens. So I got Decode Talker, Proxy Dragon, Ib, Firewall, Bomber Dragon, Underclock Taker. You can fill up the rest of the extra deck to your discretion because you really don't use it. But going to a high level event like a YCS or regionals, you'll definitely want to have an extra deck there to utilize. So moving forward, look for some XYZ level 8 monsters that'll be broken. And Orchid is running all Link monster extra deck, and when you actually have time to use Torment tokens, use them for your Link monsters. So once again, guys, this is my Lair Darkness Monarch deck. I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 test hand real fast for you guys to show you guys what the deck can do. Then we're gonna get up out of here. So while I'm doing this, guys, hit that like button and make sure to post your thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section down below. And subscribe if you haven't, by the way, because if you're new to the channel, I would definitely want people to check me out. I'm uploading videos almost like every single day. And my main goal of the channel is pretty much competitive casual play at the moment. So let's see what the hands gonna be like. Lilith, Ash Blossom, Aroma, Cosmic Cyclone, Aroma. So going first, this hand will be broken. Going second, this hand will be broken. Like you got the Aroma, you got the Lair Darkness, you got your Lilith, you can shoot it off herself. Next turn you got Aroma, it's a broken hand. We're gonna do one more test hand. That hand was actually pretty lit. Let's see if we can get the Monarch cards and see what they do. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another solid hand. You got Lair Darkness guarantee. You can pitch them. You can play your Metaverse. Set that. You can foolish bird out your So essentially, what I would do, I would go Aroma. Search out. I probably wouldn't even do that. I just go Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial my Darkest Diablos. Set, pass. Because essentially what you're going to want to wait for your opponent to see what they're going to do. And then whatever they do, based on their turn, you can Metaverse. And then you're in a good position. Metaverse out that. And I believe, no, Darkest Diablos have it only for your attributed monster. But essentially you can just do that. Then you can Eradicator them. Or on your opponent's turn, on your turn, you can just start attributing off their monsters and then boom, boom. So yeah, man. Solid hands, solid plays. Post your thoughts and opinions about the Lair Darkness deck in the comment section down below. This is InnovationYGO and I'm signing out. Peace.